Alright, we trained the model at first using k-means clustering algorithm because it allowed us to find collective outliers which formed clusters in a way so that all similar transactions would group together as clusters. After training the model and clustering, we observed that there were two clusters in particular, cluster 1 and cluster 16, which behaved differently. The number of transactions were quite scarce, and the account risk was also quite low. The transactions themselves were made by transfer and not payment. All in all, the reference to their transaction was observed to be quite different, so we proceeded to observe these clusters in more detail. Due to time constraints, we started with cluster 1. Why cluster 1 specifically? Because the cluster size was very low while the transaction amount was greater than 100,000 Australian dollars. Further progressing with the cluster, we observed that a minimal amount of data was transferred. So we started scrutinizing all the data that was greater than 5,000 Australian dollars and was being transferred. Doing so, we observed a spike in our data. We proceeded to trace this data, trying to figure out the network of said transferences, the different transfers from one account to another. We further proceeded with figuring out all the references as well as the amount that was spent on the particular references. We selected the peak and began to deeply analyze it. We saw that the network was formed in a circular chain. The largest amount we found was holiday costs, followed by settling deal and gift costs. Almost all the transactions formed here are observed to be quite vague. They can't be described in a lot of detail. We also found that the most ambiguous amount was the water cost, where multiple transactions of 100,000 to 200,000 Australian dollars was made. Lastly, all these transactions took place in between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Hence, from all this, we concluded that these transactions are an anomaly.